Crosstalk, Conversations with Kurtis. You're listening to Crosstalk, Conversations with Kurtis. Crosstalk, Conversations with Kurtis. Here's your host, Kurtis Cross.
Welcome to Conversations with Kurtis. I am your host, Kurtis Cross, and as always, I'm excited to be here with you today. We are going to get into a great conversation, but first, I want to thank our sponsors, Gene the Barber and A Squared Home and Office Solutions. Wow, I've been waiting to get this guest for a while. All I had to do was text him, and there he was. He said he'd be here. Be sure to connect with me socially at Kurtis Talks on Instagram and Twitter and www.kurtistalks.com. Also, listen to our other podcasts, Crosstalk, the Kurtis and Paula Show, a lifestyle, love, marriage, and parenthood podcast. You'll hear all about the day-to-day life of me and Paula. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill, a local and national sports podcast hosted by me, along with coaches Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Ramblin' Teachers is a local teacher talk podcast hosted by a few friends of the Crosstalk family, and of course, the Midnight Truck Stop and 911 Radio. Both of these podcasts are hosted by Big Tony and the Blue Knight, and you'll hear some great content from those whose professions keep them on the road, from emergency and frontline workers to truck drivers and more. The stories you'll hear on the Midnight Truck Stop and 911 Radio are simply fascinating. All of these podcasts can be found on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcast content. Once again, this is Conversations with Kurtis. I am your host, Kurtis Cross, and I am excited to bring you today's guest. Let's go ahead and get him right here. His name is Adam Van Wagner. He is a neighbor. He is a friend. He is a resourceful young man and one of the only people I know who moves and shake at least equally as much or more than I do. He's always on the go. I never see him on weekends because he's either in the mountains or he's going hiking. He's at the beach. You know what? From one day to the next, you go to Vegas every year, don't you? Or you used to, at least.
We did for a while, yeah. We did for family birthday, yeah.
All right. So Adam is one of how many in your family? How many siblings?
Three siblings, blood, 2 steps. So 6 of us, but we pretty much all grew up together since we were, 10 or 11 years old. So it's a big family.
All right. He is a Montgomery County guy, but he has his hands in a couple of things, and I want to get into that conversation right now. I think there are 2 fascinating things here. It doesn't matter what order I go in, but let's talk about that logo that's on our screen right now, myfridgerental.com. You talked to me about this a few years ago. I think it has grown. You and Eric pretty much run this. You have the staff, but tell our listeners about myfridgerental.com.
Yeah, well, I mean, it really goes back to like the family and how like our parents and grandparents were entrepreneurs. Like our grandpa had a company called King Rentals. He rented all kinds of stuff. He was renting, furniture, equipment, cars, generators, all over the place. I mean, in the Silver Spring area and up and down the East Coast. That translated to my dad, who was always an entrepreneur, doing all kinds of getting his hands in different things. And one of the things he did was actually rentals as well. So he did some fridge rentals at a few college campuses. And once Eric and I got to college, we just saw an opportunity to make that a niche, really make that a focus, and kind of, I guess, rebrand and expand that idea. And so when we were in college in 2007 to 2011, we saw that opportunity and just kind of went with it. But it was always about the kind of the background and the resources we had and the connections we had through the family business and the family connections. So it's been a really cool experience over the past 10 years to see how much we could grow such a simple concept of renting out fridges to college students.
So when you mentioned this idea to me, I'll say it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. We just happened to talk. We are next door neighbors, guys. And you talked to me about this. I didn't quite catch the concept. Didn't know there was a niche, but I am far past my college years. But let's talk about the heart of it. So you have, what do you do? So college students can come to you for what?
Yeah, so it's really simple. It's fridge rentals, dorm size fridge rentals for college students. Fridge, freezer, microwave, all in one. So that's one of the unique aspects of the product. Like you can go buy a dorm size cube fridge at Walmart, but the unit that we procure and offer as rentals is a fridge, freezer, and microwave all in one. So it's a little bit of a higher quality unit, a little bit more functional for the students. But really, the value is in It's delivered to your dorm room before you arrive, and we pick it up at the end of the year. But that is it in a nutshell. We make your move-in easy by delivering the fridge while you relax. And
how easy could that be?
What's that?
How easy could that be?
Yeah, I guess it's as easy as we can make it for them, and it seems
for the student, yeah,
valued service, because like it's almost the parents. Like, that's what we've learned over the years, is our customer is the parents. The students are the ones using it, but the parents who are about to move their kid into college, who are about to load up a van and drive however far a distance to do that move-in day, are not wanting to take up half their vehicle or more with a fridge. So it's pretty convenient for a lot of people, and it's just been something that it's kind of funny. I always tell people that I probably never would have been a customer of a fridge rental company. I had the means to store my fridge in the summer. I had the means to transport it, but that's just not everybody. So it's,
you weren't far from home, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I was 20 minutes away from College Park, living in Rockville, Maryland at the time. So it wasn't, it's one of those things that I don't think is for everybody, but it certainly has a lot of value to some students. And, depending on the campus, we'll rent in anywhere between 20% to 60% of dorm rooms at the 20 plus campuses that we offer rentals at.
So what does that number look like, though? So, and we're going to get into the fact that the summertime is when you guys are super busy. Someone would think, well, during the school year, during the academic calendar is when you're busiest. And we're going to talk about what your summers are like with that business. But when you say you rent to 20 to 60% of students or the campuses and blah, blah, what does that number look like?
Yeah, so I mean, right in a non-COVID year, I would say we were exceeding 4,000 fridge rentals per year.
Time out, Adam. To have 4,000 units, you have to have a place to keep 4,000. You have over 4,000 mini fridge, microwave, freezer combos.
That's right. We probably own over 4,500 at this point. You got some backup inventory. You got some replacements. You're always churning that inventory with more new inventory. So yeah, it's probably about 4,500 fridges at this point.
Okay, and how many of those are in rotation, let's say from the third week in August to the second week in May or whatever?
Over 90%. It should be over 90 to 95%. If it was in a perfect world, we wouldn't have any, we'd have the exact amount we need, but no more. But it's not like that. So you're probably looking at over 90 to 95%. But we lease a space out in Beltsville, Maryland for our primary warehouse. It's really just a big garage. And that's where we do the primary kind of maintenance and work. But it's only about 2.5 months, 3 months in the summer where we have to store most of the fridges. So we actually just lease public storage. We've never gotten to that size where we needed a full, the square footage to store all 4,500 fridges, because 9 months out of the year they're stored in dorm rooms.
Right.
And we get paid for it. So we don't need to pay for the extra storage. We've looked at other ideas though, like, you mentioned I'm always moving and shaking. I'm always thinking of ways we can improve and expand. So like if we did go to that bigger space, we'll probably do some self-storage opportunities and make use of it, right? We got to utilize it once it's an underutilized resource. But right now it's pretty much just a large garage out in Beltsville and then self-storage units for a few months out of the year that we keep all these fridges.
Wow. All right. So where do you go? University of Maryland's probably home base. You went to that school, so you have love in your heart for, taking care of those students. But I know you're at Howard University. I imagine you're at Towson, Morgan. How far does this expand? Maryland, DC, Virginia? Yep. Do you do Pennsylvania, Delaware? What do we do here?
Yep. I'll get to that in one sec, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I have an identical twin brother who really runs this full time. And I know we're going to get into the Amazon part, which is one of the things I actually do more or less full time. So my twin brother, Eric Van Wagner, really runs the show, and he's really been running this full time for the last 10 years. So it's awesome that I have a clone that can do this while I'm doing other cool things.
So you get the FaceTime on the camera to talk about it.
I know.
Heavy lifting.
That's because I've had FaceTime with you for the last 8 years, right? So that's how it works. No, I'm still very involved. I get to do a lot of the strategy. I'll jump in any given day of the week. He'll give me a call. We'll have a discussion. But he's doing a lot of the day-to-day operation. As far as where we're at, it's interesting you mentioned like Maryland's the home base, but what else? We were not actually a provider of fridges at the University of Maryland until about 2016, 2017.
Okay.
And we started this in 2010.
All right.
Between 2009 and 2011, I guess our last couple of years of college. It was that's one of the interesting stories, because Maryland is one of those campuses that had a lot of red tape, They thought we are big enough. We don't have a rental service. We don't need a rental service. That was kind of the way they went with it. And so we always kind of thought it's not if, but when. We both graduated from the University of Maryland. We were always and so we just methodically, over the years, got the right connections, got the right mechanism to get University of Maryland just the awareness. We're just trying to provide a benefit to the students. So we got them the awareness, and the way we actually did it was through the Student Sustainability Committee actually decided, hey, we want to provide a sustainable option for students to either rent or buy a fridge instead of bringing these old junky fridges that use a lot of energy. And so it was actually, when it was all said and done, it wasn't just like a pitch from us, but it was the Student Sustainability Committee at Maryland that made a proposal to the school senate and said, we have a proposition. We want to have a rental program on campus. And within the next year or two, they had a bid out for a fridge rental program, which we were able to bid on and get. So it's an interesting story at Maryland, but I mean, some of the other big campuses, Howard University is actually one of our biggest campuses, which we only officially started working with in the last 3 to 4 years.
How many units?
At Howard University, I'd say it's between 400 and 500 units. Okay. American University is the largest, actually, of all of them. Okay. So it's American University in DC will do anywhere between, I don't know, 500 to 750, depending on the year and just the type of fridges that they're renting. One of the reasons we rent so many there is I think we offer a lot more different options, and every school kind of has their own preferences. Like, one of the things that we, I guess, pride ourselves in is being able to be customized to what the school needs. So the campus really can dictate what we're able to offer in terms of, is it just a cube unit? Is a fridge, freezer, microwave all in one? Do you want to have tiered pricing? Do you want to get commission or pass the savings off to the students? Right. So we working with the schools in that way, we were able to customize and really make it valuable to both as a campus partner, but also valuable to the students at the schools.
So would you find, like an American University campus, because we have so many international students, that your rate of rentals goes up? Because I mean, if you have mostly commuter students coming from, I don't know, Howard County, you probably don't need as many rentals. But a kid coming from Paris or Istanbul or what have you, they're not coming over with a fridge. And the second part to that is, as is the case with a lot of businesses or a lot of successful businesses, there's just a convenience there. They don't have to think about it. I don't know what the cost is, and if you want to mention cost, please feel free. But if parents can write a check and it makes their life easier, and mom and dad aren't lugging a fridge, then they just wrote a check for X amount of dollars and they just wipe that problem away.
I think both your points are valid, right? One is the international students definitely increase the rentals at American University, but it's also interesting because I don't know if Howard University is more local versus out of state, or Salisbury, but those are actually our next two biggest campuses. Okay. So I think there's something to be said for just also the kind of the relationship we have with the school and how they do at promoting that this is an available service. Because that's something we've done really well at, I think, Howard, at Salisbury University. So it's a mix of both. As far as the convenience factor, it's that's exactly what it is. We did a business competition when we were in college, and one of the answers that my brother says helped us win the competition. They're like, "Well, anyone can buy a fridge. Why is yours special?" We're like, "We're not selling a fridge. We're selling the convenience. We're selling a fridge in your dorm room when you arrive. We're picking it up at the end of the year, and you don't have to worry about it. It could be we use what we believe is a high quality fridge, but we also believe that this service would be just as valuable if we bought the fridges from Walmart, if we bought the fridges from Target, wherever, right? Like we think that it would be just as valuable for the delivery aspect, the hassle-free aspect of it.
Right. So are we again, I'm old school. So are we talking like a postcard in their welcome kit that talks about my fridge rental, or how do they hear about you?
I mean, 10 years ago, it was a lot of we would give the flyers to the school, who could actually mail them out to the students in their welcome information.
There you go.
Over the last 10 years, that's transitioned to whatever that school is doing for their primary form of giving their students the information they need for their move-in. So it's going to be your move-in website link. Here are the things to bring, things not to bring. On the things to bring page, you're going to say you can bring a fridge, but you can also rent from myfridgerental.com.
The postcards are gone. The postcards went bye-bye.
Or less. I mean, the last school I think we did a direct mailing at was University of Maryland, because we had the opportunity to get do the direct mailing addresses from the school themselves, right? Just based on the contract. But with almost every other school, we've pretty much eliminated the direct mailer because it's not the way. It's the primary way that the students are getting their information is they are very ingrained in the details that the school is giving them for their check-in, right? Like when you're a college freshman or college, even a sophomore or your first time living on campus, like you and or your parents are looking intently at all those details. You got to get all the information. So it's like the most valuable place to get the information, whether it's digital form from the school or their welcome packets, that's the best way for us to market. We do virtually no like generic marketing because it's the relationship with the school that really makes it valuable.
Right, and you've got that audience right there. You've got 35,000 kids coming to College Park every August, and there's your audience. I mean, Maryland delivered them to you, you know?
Yeah, and we'll entertain any one-off rental request, always, all the time. But we're not marketing to that market because a one-off rental request, I got to send a guy. He's going to take 3 or 4 hours round trip, whatever. So your cost of delivery, say, is $75, $80 or $75 to $100 just for delivery one way. On a move-in day at a campus, I'm delivering 150 fridges in a day, 200 fridges in a day. You get your economies of scale by getting those bulk deliveries. And so it's really the relationship with the school and the awesome partners we have at all these schools that we are able to get these fridges delivered before the students arrive. It's beneficial to the school that you're in and out in a day, maybe 2. It's beneficial to the students that the fridge is there before they arrive. And I think it's good for everyone. So yeah, that's how we kind of roll with it.
So anyone who's working with myfridgerental.com, they're not getting the month of August off. The month of August is a must work, I assume, right? How many trucks are you putting out there in a day?
Yeah, so we only own like one van, one truck right now. But during the rental season, we're renting anywhere between 2 to 4, like, not 54-foot trailers, but the largest box truck you can get. Right. We'll stack. You could stack one level, I believe, is 75 fridges in one specific truck. We can get 2 levels, 150 fridges in there, and so our delivery window at our delivery and or pickup window at these campuses is like a 3, maybe 4 week period, and we're delivering 4,000 fridges or picking up 4,000 fridges in those 3 to 4 weeks. So you're really averaging on a 5-day work week, although we do flex to the weekend sometimes. It's about 150 fridges a day, every day for a month on average. Some days it's 500, some days it's 0, but it's about average that.
And you're sending a crew to Salisbury, a crew to Howard, a crew to wherever the business is. So you might spend a couple days on a campus. If you're doing 700 fridges or 500 fridges, you might spend 3 days at AU.
So we do, yeah, and that's a great point. Like at AU, we do spend 2 or 3 days there because we're local enough to make it convenient and get the scheduling down, and it just works best for the school and for us. But at a school like Salisbury University, we will typically do the bulk majority of those in a single day. So about 500 fridges we can deliver in a single day with a crew of maybe 10 people. We've worked on our model on how we staff and how we get the scheduling down. So we've actually reduced the number of people that we need to deliver the fridges, but also kind of increase the efficiency there just by working on a kind of per unit model, per task model that works well with our contractors.
So I don't want to simplify it too much, but you get a schedule, you get the trucks, you load the fridges, the guys, the gals, whoever, they go out and, okay, I've got to go to 1100 Main Street, dorm 101, 102, 108, 109. I mean, they just deliver.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good process down after the last 10 plus years. But I mean, we're constantly like improving. Like when you do it for so long, and you can kind of find these little areas where there's waste. I mean, my brother Eric has done like the day-to-day operations, and he's found a ton of ways to make sure that we're absolutely as efficient and as organized as we can be. It used to be just load up approximately 150. We're delivering approximately 150. Bring some printed out labels, and we'll figure out what needs to go where once we get there. To now, it's so scheduled and organized that we are loading the truck specifically for the specific dorms and the specific areas of campus that we know we're going to hit first versus last.
Okay.
So we will load the first 15 microfridges and 10 cubes are our last stop. So it's first in, last out. And then it's you know, we go in order there. And then so it's just much more organized now. Like we know exactly what we're going to hit on campus first, exactly where we're going to go last, what fridges need to go to each area. So it would be, it's a rare day now that we would leave campus with like an extra fridge or be a fridge short, because we just know ahead of time exactly we're doing better quality control. So we're getting we're not bringing extra fridges to campus because on campus I'm going to realize that something's damaged. We're just not going to load up that fridge in the first place now. So just a lot of process improvement over the years, but the main concept is the same. Load up the truck, get to the campus, pull them off the truck, get them to the dorm room.
All right. So in May or end of April, May, whatever, you're scheduling all these pickups. So the pickup process is about the same. I assume you go with an empty truck, you pick up 273 fridges from Towson University or what have you. Eric, let's talk about the bad. How bad are those fridges? I bet you're not in the warehouse cleaning them out, are you?
That's right. No, I'm not doing too much cleaning these days. I've cleaned plenty of fridges in my day.
How bad are they? How bad are they, Adam?
Not as bad as you would think. We get some bad ones. We do get some bad ones, but it's not like we're sitting there, having to power wash and Clorox, dip 4,000 fridges in a vat of Clorox or anything, because we just give really specific instructions. That's really all it is at the end of the year. Like the pickup instructions, they need the details on what to do with it anyway. So in those instructions, we just ask them, please clean the fridge. Here's exactly how to do it. Here's the best way to do it. That's not too much of a pain. Defrost it a day ahead of time. Put a towel in there so it doesn't drip out. And I would say the majority of them actually come back in good condition. We still clean and disinfect every single fridge, but the amount of time we have to spend on doing it is reduced by how well they clean them. And I would give a lot of the students props for how well they return them.
So you're getting back in 4,000 fridges. That's what, 3 weeks of cleaning? Like how long does it take to go through those to prep them for the next year?
That we kind of do over the summer, and we also contract a cleaner for the entire summer. So we used to try to manage that like we manage the contractors for delivering the fridges and picking them up, but it made more sense. We just looked at the numbers, ran the numbers, and we're like, it's not worth Eric's full time, my small part time role in this, trying to do the daily coordination of that. Like it's more of a here's 4,000 fridges, get them clean to these specifications, and we now contract that as a single contract to one contractor who can clean them.
Okay. All right. So then they sit for a few weeks, and then you're taking, reservations all throughout the summer. And what is your target date? Like by August 8th, you need to know where they're all going, or? Yeah,
we try to incentivize early rentals. It's just more valuable for us to know ahead of time and to have the orders in, right? So we actually, with several of our schools, we're able to contractually offer like a discounted rate, like an early bird rate, which we find value in. Like we would rather have the order earlier, even for a slightly lesser price. The students or parents get a value because they're going to be renting the fridge anyway. Get the order in early and you can save a little bit of money. But yeah, I would say we target, like all of our communication targets August 1st, but we will take orders up until the day before, essentially the day before our move-in. We'll take orders even after move-in, but we always communicate. And for anyone listening, right, who's ever going to rent a fridge from us, like we always communicate really clearly that in order to guarantee your fridge is there before you arrive, we need you by this date, because we have a scheduled delivery date with the school. Once we hit that scheduled delivery date, which could be about a week before move-in, we might not get back to that campus, even though we'll always still offer the fridge rental. We might not get back to that campus until after you move in.
It's just a pain for them if they don't they know they're coming to College Park. Just hit me by July and let me know, right?
Yeah, but even and we will basically do everything we can to get you on that delivery if your order is in before that first bulk delivery date. After that, they're still happy to rent a fridge, and the most important thing is clear communication. We don't ever want to communicate that we guarantee your fridge will be there before you arrive, and then you order at 9 p.m. on the day before you show up. Your fridge isn't going to be there because it's not feasible to have it there. We're not delivering with Amazon fulfillment center, so we can't get in there in 2 hours or 1 day. Overnight delivery.
But that might be next on your schedule or next on your list, I bet.
I've thought about plenty of crazy ideas, but no, it's really it's something that we just communicate clearly, so they know when they order after that pickup date. we'll say, yep, your order's in, but just so you know, it's going to be afterwards. And that's like the most important thing I think we've learned throughout this whole experience and through my time at Amazon as well. It's like it's customer obsession, and it's clear communication. Like 9 times out of 10, the customer isn't upset that the fridge was delivered after they're moving. They'll only be upset if they thought or assumed it was going to be before and we didn't communicate clearly that it was going to be after. Absolutely. So in my experience working with other companies and in my experience with customers working with us, it's all about clear communication and transparent expectations. It's not that you weren't able to deliver Amazon level 2-hour delivery. It's just communication.
Right. We're going to segue out of my fridge rental. And I should have started the podcast by saying this. Everyone who listens to this or listens to Conversations with, well, this is Conversations with Kurtis, the Kurtis and Ball Show, or Etiquette with Turner and O'Neill. They know that our son, Adam, mows lawns. He started his business this summer, and you were his first customer. So we have to thank you for that. You were his first customer. You are a faithful and loyal customer. And I don't know what day of the week you're on, because if it rains, it's this day. Yeah. But once a week, you make sure that Adam is mowing your lawn. So thank you. You wrote, and I didn't thank you publicly for the letter you wrote him to say you're proud of him or keep going, and you encouraged him. And for an 11-year-old, that means everything. He took a picture with your letter and the first money, the first cash he made. So thank you for that. And yes, our son mows lawns, and he's up to 7. He's got a couple of one-off customers, but he has 7 customers. So he's working his schedule. And it's supposed to rain today, so he tried to get everyone in yesterday that he could. And he just got 1 left for the weekend. We're gonna make a turn here. You are with Amazon, and I will not suggest that my fridge rental is not exciting, but Amazon is just as exciting to me. The things you talk about. What do you do at Amazon?
So at Amazon, and right before we transition to that, I do want to comment on the thing with Adam. You're thanking me, but I want to thank him. Adam does a phenomenal job. I mean, I've had other professional, quote unquote, maybe larger companies do my lawn. They don't look any better than what Adam does. So Adam does a fantastic job. I know he learned well from you, and I'm a very, very happy customer. So I really appreciate what Adam's doing. At Amazon, I've had a few different roles. I'll go back a little bit to the timeline. So right when I graduated college, a couple years after we had started doing fridge rentals, I was actually balancing the decision if I would do a full-time role at another company or if I would keep doing my fridge rental. That was always something I had considered and was almost my primary consideration early on after graduating college. And I went to the career fair, even though I was doing my fridge rental, and it was just something I thought would be interesting. And I was like, Amazon looks like an interesting company. They're growing fast. And that's like the one company I talked to at the career fair. They were interested. So they brought me out for an interview, and they extended me an offer. And I originally rejected the offer because at Amazon Fulfillment, because I was really convinced at that time. I was like, yep, I did my due diligence. I went there, I got an offer, but what actually made me the decision between rejecting or accepting was they had told me it was going to be in South Carolina. Then they're like, wait, that's not open, and we're going to go out further west. I was like, that's a little bit different, being able to drive back home over a weekend and do stuff with Fridgin or do stuff with family versus having to fly. So it's like, it's okay, I'll keep doing fridge stuff, right? My fridge rental. And then they called me back and said, we're going to open South Carolina. And that to me was kind of like a sign, like, okay, this could be a neat opportunity. I'm still close enough. The schedule I was going to be on was 4-day work weeks, not to mention overtime weeks, but that's a different story. The normal schedule is 4-day weeks. So I was working in South Carolina, and that was in 2011 that I started at Amazon Fulfillment. I did that for 2 years while Eric continued doing fridge rentals full time. Then I actually transitioned to work at the University of Maryland for 2.5 years. I got recruited. I worked for their entrepreneurship center. So I worked at the Dingman Center for Entrepreneurship, kind of helping other entrepreneurs figure out what their passion is and what they're going to be working on. And then it was in 2015 that I was recruited for my current, for where I work now, which is Amazon Web Services. And I've worked at Amazon Web Services ever since November 2015 in a variety of roles. The first one was a logistics manager, doing just the moving of server and network parts between data centers, managing the teams that move parts between data centers. I transitioned into a program manager role where we were doing a software rollout for the infrastructure operations globally for Amazon Web Services. I then transitioned from that to an inventory planning and sourcing role. And finally, where I've been for the last 1.5 years is a role that is the global process owner for logistics across infrastructure operations at Amazon Web Services. So it's been exciting. It's been busy. It keeps me busy, but it's always fun and exciting.
I feel like years ago with Amazon, they had you moving and shaking more than now, because I haven't heard about a lot of travel lately. And of course, there's been a pandemic, but I think you were in Australia. You were everywhere, right?
I was. It was really neat because it was like in each role I did, it's not like every person in that role would automatically travel a lot, but it was kind of the projects and programs I was working on that had this demand for getting me on site in person.
Okay.
Different systems integrations, or different, process improvements that I was working on. It just made sense for me to go to these different locations. So you're absolutely right. That completely changed once COVID hit. But from 2015 to 2020, right, the beginning of 2020 before COVID, I probably traveled at least once on average, once per quarter, or let's say 3 to 4 times per year. And normally once per year, it was an international trip. Right. So I went to Dublin, Ireland twice during that span. I went to Sydney, Australia 3 times during that span, all for work. Right. And that was actually 3 times in an 18-month period. Right. And those 3 times were with 3 completely separate projects and programs and things. Like, it was just I consider it lucky, because I thought it was a really awesome experience to go to travel internationally while also work, for work. But it was kind of like things fell into place, and I was really, really fortunate to be able to travel for work for a couple different. One was a summit with our global logistics managers. The next one was a implementation of a inventory vending technology we started using, and then I think the last one was a kind of a working group, a customer advisory board, we called it, to get some information as we were building out a new platform for data technicians and logistics technicians to kind of work in the data center. So 3 completely separate programs and reasons I went, but those were the 3 trips to Australia. They were all pretty neat.
So all that's nuts and bolts. That's the stuff that not everyone can really connect to, because that's the internal workings of how that happens. You wowed me with some Amazon information. I don't want to minimize your role, because what you do at Amazon is what you do. But for the average listener, the average person who goes on their smartphone, who goes online, and they order something from Amazon, how does this process work? What is the concept behind how Amazon can get stuff to you so quickly, so cheaply, with Prime, without Prime? Tell me how. So the first time I recognized how wow factor Amazon was, I was at breakfast with my in-laws at home, and my father-in-law, they were renting a property, 2 doors down, 3 doors down, and he said, "You know what? You have a coffee maker here. I need a coffee maker at our house." So at breakfast, I get on Amazon and I order it. We go out that night to Armand's Pizza, which is now closed. We go out, and they're older, so they're eating at like 6 o'clock. So we're leaving at like 5:45 to go to Armand's. And before I leave, a car pulls up and delivers that to me in the same day. Talk to me about that model. What is Amazon's thing?
Sure. Well, it's interesting. Like, if my only role at Amazon was the one I've done for the last 6 years, I wouldn't be able to speak to anything more than you as a customer, because I'm now in the AWS space. But my first 2 years at Amazon was retail, and so that's where I had a lot of experience in the fulfillment center, where we had 10 million units in any given fulfillment center, and we're getting them out the door sometimes within hours of you placing that order. And that's what it is. So it's understanding what we call the critical pull time that guarantees I can get something to you in that when the shopping cart says, if you order this in the next 2 hours and 13 minutes, you can get it on this day. It's Amazon knowing in every single location they store inventory globally, with every single transportation option that's available, it's knowing exactly how long it takes in a fulfillment center, a associate to go grab that part, throw it in a tote, put it on the belt, get it to the sorting area that rebins it into your collected order, get it on a pack in a pack station to put a box on it, put it in a label, and get that shipping code on it. And then it filters down to the box. And there's kind of some neat videos online. You can see tons of different Amazon fulfillment center, like all the conveyor belts and things. But it goes kind of get down to this dock. It shoots onto a truck. And that's it. It's knowing that we can be so efficient that we can get a package from the farthest corner of the fulfillment center to the truck. Probably, I might even be misquoting the times now because I haven't been in that space for over 5 years, but I would say they can probably do that in 15 minutes.
All right, so
Like
but
if they need to.
the average person thinks, okay, if I went to an Amazon fulfillment warehouse, I'm going to see all the 100-watt light bulbs here. I'm going to see all the batteries here. I'm going to see all the Levi's jeans. So if I go to aisle 38, row 14, I'm going to see all of the Levi's 505 jeans all in a row. And please blow everyone's mind and tell them that they're not going to see that. What are they going to see?
Yeah. Well, you see that at a department store and you see that at the store that you normally shop at, because it would be impossible for you to shop with a random with jeans of this size being here and jeans of the other size being on the other end. But at Amazon, it's actually much more efficient to have what we call random stow. Random stow means I'm going to put anything I get in from a truck into the stow. We call it the stow mod or the stow pod, into any bin I can get it to, as long as it meets certain what we call bin etiquette requirements.
Okay.
So the bin etiquette means like we don't want to overstuff the bin. You're going to cause damage. You're going to cause quality errors if you're overstuffing it. So it's still organized, but it's as I'm picking 100 units per hour, let's say, and this is in the old version, right, where I had to walk around and pick. Nowadays, they have Kiva robots that bring the bin to you. So the picking process has increased by like 500% efficiency because the bins come to you instead of you walking to the bins. But regardless, it's the same methodology for bin etiquette. It's easier for me to visually and quickly identify you ordered a teddy bear. So I need to pick the teddy bear. If I'm picking between the red, blue, and pink teddy bear, I got to think for a little bit longer. Just that extra second. And that extra second, if everything was organized by a part type, I would be more prone to errors, because if I'm just looking at teddy bear, I'm going to pick the wrong color, versus if it's a teddy bear, a watch, and a book. Those are the 3 items in my bin. I'm instantly going to be able to distinguish between those in that bin that I'm at. And therefore, I can much more efficiently and with higher quality pick your items across a 1 million square foot fulfillment center with 10 million items stored at any given time. It's actually more efficient to have things stowed randomly because of the quality and efficiency and being able to pick those more effectively.
So you're telling me this remote, this cup, and toothpaste can all be in the same bin?
No doubt about it. I guarantee it exists in many bins across many fulfillment centers.
All right. So I want to talk to you about how big Amazon is, as if you don't know, and how Amazon has, and I don't say this in the worst way, has brainwashed us all. One day, a year and a half ago, I'm trying to find a razor, right? My razor died. It won't work. It won't charge, whatever. I'm trying to find a razor. I go on Amazon and I need it that day. And I'm past the time. Amazon cannot get it to me that day. It can get it to me the next day. Mm-hmm. And for a few minutes, I was so bummed that Amazon couldn't get it to me that day that I forgot I can drive right to Target and go get it. Amazon has got me not thinking about Target or Walmart, because wouldn't every business want to be the only option? They've made it so that I've relied on them so heavily that I can't think outside of what Amazon can bring me. And I think that's probably the model they want. And they want their consumers thinking in those terms. But and Amazon has made it harder for me to find out what I've spent. I don't think they want me to know what I've spent. You've got to put in a request and you got to query something. But no, we all know that Amazon is a way of life. I'm looking at everything in this studio except for one piece came from Amazon. Our microphones came from Amazon. Our microphone stands came from Amazon. This paper probably came, everything comes from Amazon. What is that like for you? Do you see a career with Amazon? Is this it for you?
I've been here 6 years and I love it. Again, I'm on the AWS side, so not a ton with retail anymore, but our AWS One supports retail it runs the website. But the interesting thing is we are in what I think is like the rocket ship of Amazon. So if I probably wouldn't have been in fulfillment, the retail side that you're describing, for a 6-year period. After 2 years, I had an amazing experience, but I was ready to see something new, and I went to University of Maryland. In AWS, it's a rocket ship. We are growing so fast. We're able to create so many, process improvements and innovations, and the way that we can serve customers with cloud computing, and which the vast majority of the day-to-day customers don't even consider as one of the things Amazon offers. It's really one of the fastest growing parts of Amazon for like the corporate customers and people who need to actually buy the cloud computing requirements. So I'm always I could see, I have no thought to go anywhere else. Like it's really interesting, and everything I learn in Amazon I can share with Eric and share with My Fridge Rental, and that's kind of the one of the synergies I've understood as well. Like with Eric being able to run it full time, I can kind of take some of that customer obsession mindset and the process improvement and deliver results mindset that we have at Amazon, and really in a way translate it to what would help us, what would benefit us at My Fridge Rental as well. So short answer, no, I'll be here for indefinitely. Like I love it. It's always exciting, and there's always a new role as well. I told you at the beginning, I've been in 4 different roles, 4 different key roles since I've been in AWS, because even nothing really gets stagnant. So it's pretty great.
All right. And so with Amazon has improved throughout the years to the point where they've partnered with some not necessarily big box stores, but some other companies where you can get things delivered within hours. And this process has continued to improve. You mentioned that, you walk around and you pull things from these different pods, but now, the stuff comes to you, improving that process by 500%, the efficiency. What is it that allows Amazon to, 5 years ago, you couldn't do this, but if I order toothpaste and lotion and sunscreen and bug spray, that stuff can be to me same day. How did they move that process along for that to happen?
Well, it's just getting more and more locations. So like they've continuously, if you look at any of their financial data, if you look at all the publicly available information, they constantly for years and years and years and years have reinvested in more locations. They could have been more profitable much earlier on, but their vision was never to get to 2-day delivery and say, we now have a fulfillment center in enough places to give every person in the country 2-day delivery. We've succeeded. Like, it was never about that, because the customer obsession mindset is, but if what would I really want? I would love to have it instantly. So if you can't have it instantly, what's the next best thing? Well, maybe we can do it in 2 hours. And so they build more and more locations to get closer to more and more customers who can get 2-hour delivery. So it's all about how many locations can I have with the primary batch of products. You can't have every single product that you have in every fulfillment center across every delivery station, but it's adding more and more of those localized delivery stations that gets you from 2-day delivery to 2-hour delivery.
Right.
It's working with delivery service partners where it used to be just FedEx, UPS, and whatever, that you now have Amazon delivery service partners. The reason you see a blue truck that says Amazon on it delivering your packages now is because when I started at Amazon 10 years ago, 2011, actually approaching August will be an actual 10-year anniversary of when I first started working at Amazon the first time. But the VP of the particular site I was at was like, we depend on UPS, FedEx, etc. to deliver our packages. Our volume is growing so much that if we don't create our own delivery service in the next 5 to 6 years, we physically will not be able to serve our customers. Right. So it's not if, it's when. We already know it's happening. It doesn't exist yet, but it's going to happen. We are going to have Amazon will be also delivering your packages, not to eliminate our use of UPS, FedEx, and USPS, but to complement it. Like, we have to do it with them in order to get the volume out that we need. And it's pretty cool how they've expanded and grown, again, all with the customer obsession mindset. We want to get customers to you now, right now, not, prime now is 1 to 2 hours, right? So yeah, it's pretty cool how they've just increased the locations, increased the service and delivery options to really be able to not stop at just 2 days is good enough, but get to that 1 day, overnight, 2 hours, and it's still going.
Dude, you can order at 9 o'clock at night and it says it'll be there between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. And I wake up in the morning and there's 1,000 envelopes sitting in front of my house this morning, actually. I'm like, what the heck did I order? Oh yeah, we need those envelopes. I'm only going to touch on this for a hot second, but man, can we vote to not have laser ship anymore? Oh my goodness. Laser ship was, I'm not a fan. Let's just say I'm not a fan of laser ship. I'm a fan of every other way that Amazon brings it to me though.
Well, even when I was in the fulfillment space, we would have not, I wouldn't have any say, unfortunately, in
Right.
I'm a little bit even more removed from that now, but I know that one, they'll take your feedback. So give the feedback to Amazon on your order, because they're always using that feedback. They'll get with Lasership and say, what the heck, you're causing customer concerns.
Right.
That's the benefit of Amazon. They're actually going to listen to your feedback and use it.
No, Amazon has been wonderful. Obviously, it's changed the way, when I talk to people about things throughout the years, obviously the internet, blah, blah, all of these inventions or all of these, improvements upon how we do things. Amazon is absolutely, I would say for the past 10 or 15 years, Amazon, when, smartphones and Amazon would have to be the way that we have advanced as a society. I think it might make us lazier because now we don't have to go to the store. But no, Amazon has really, they have single-handedly, you've heard this, you've said this, you've sat in meetings, they have single-handedly revamped the way consumers consume stuff, the way we get stuff. They have really done that to the point where, and I'm sure the folks at Amazon who sit in the boardroom know this as well, that Amazon, they forced Walmart's hand, they forced Target's hand, they forced everyone's hand to take their model and say, okay, 5 years ago, Walmart did not offer 2-day delivery. They simply didn't. But if Amazon is getting someone, I don't know, again, we'll go back to the sunscreen, and they're getting them a ream of paper, and they're getting them, a pack of 25 pencils in 2 days. Why would anyone come to Walmart? We've got to match this service. And you've seen it. It's like DoorDash versus Uber Eats. If someone can deliver the food through DoorDash, now here comes Uber Eats and all these other kinds of places. Adam, you got to start your day. I'm not going to hold you but so long. Tell people how they can connect. Obviously, it's on the screen, but myfridgerental.com. What do they need to do if they need to get with you or whatever?
The best way, please reach out to us through our website. myfridgerental.com. That's the name of the business. That's the name of the website. Like, reach out to us through there. There's an intake form. There's an email. Any schools who are inquiring, any students who are inquiring about specific campuses, or even more importantly, campuses that we don't yet serve. Like, we want to have that conversation with new campuses. We're always adding schools every year. So myfridgerental.com is the best way. We have very lacking social media presence as well. It's not maintained totally, but it's out there. So it's myfridgerental on Instagram, myfridgerental on Facebook. But really the best way is just to shoot us a note through our website, through the email, info@myfridgerental. You can email me at adam@myfridgerental.com. And that's really how we'd love to connect with you all.
Adam, I thank you for your time. I got it. Where are you going this weekend? You're going out of town, aren't you? I'm guaranteeing you that you're going out of town.
Ocean City, Maryland. You know it.
Always. Well, I'm going to let you get to going. I'm going to close out the show. Don't feel like you have to stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, we do want to thank Mr. Adam Van Wagner with Amazon and myfridgerental.com. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks a lot.
All right, fella. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Adam Van Wagner. He's with myfridgerental.com. He is my neighbor. He's an awesome kind of guy. So glad to have had him right here on the podcast. Listen, we want to thank you for listening. Don't forget to get with me socially at Kurtis Talks, www.kurtistalks.com, kurtisandpaula@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our podcast family, The Kurtis and Paula Show, Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill, Ramblin' Teachers, and of course, the Midnight Truck Stop at 911 Radio. You'll find our family of podcasts just about anywhere you get your podcast content. Thank you for joining the conversation today. Feel free to spread the word. And as always, thank you, Khadijah. We'll see you next time.